Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Not because you have to, but because stories like this are meant to be heard slowly. They're meant to stay with you after the screen goes dark. And if you've ever felt quietly lost inside a life that looks fine from the outside, this one might feel uncomfortably familiar. That my name is Lauren. I'm 32 years old. And for most of my adult life, I believed I understood what it meant to be alive. I woke up on time. I went to work. I answered messages. I smiled when expected. I slept beside someone who loved me. From the outside, everything appeared stable, even admirable. But stability and fulfillment are not the same thing. What I didn't realize back then was that I wasn't truly living. I was maintaining, functioning, moving from one day to the next on autopilot, mistaking routine for purpose. The days blended together so seamlessly that weeks disappeared without memory. I couldn't tell you what made one Tuesday different from the next. There were no sharp edges to my life, no dramatic pain, no visible chaos, just a dull, persistent numbness. And numbness is dangerous because it doesn't hurt enough to demand change. You don't panic when you're numb. You adapt to it. You lower your expectations. You convince yourself that this must be what adulthood feels like. I didn't realize how disconnected I'd become until I made one small, seemingly harmless decision. A choice that didn't just interrupt my routine, but exposed everything I'd been quietly avoiding. That I've been married to Michael for 8 years. Michael is a good man. Not in the dramatic, storybook sense, but in the real, dependable way that actually sustains a life. He's patient, predictable, gentle, the kind of person people trust instinctively, the kind of partner who never raises his voice, the kind of husband who shows up exactly as promised. Our life together was calm, organized, and painfully consistent. We woke up at the same time every morning. We followed the same work schedules. We ate dinner at the same hour. We went to bed without arguing, but also without talking much. There was no hostility between us. No betrayal. No resentment we could name. Just a growing quiet. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind. The kind that fills the space where curiosity used to live. Where desire used to spark. Where questions stopped being asked. We coexisted beautifully. But coexistence isn't intimacy. I told myself I loved him. And I think I did. But love, when left unattended, can slowly turn into habit. And habit feels convincing. Until one day you realize how much of yourself has gone missing. One evening, I was lying on the couch, scrolling through my phone without really seeing anything. Photos. Advertisements. Lives that felt brighter than mine. That's when I saw it. A post promoting local dance nights. Open to couples. Open to singles. I laughed quietly to myself. I hadn't danced in years. Not because I disliked it, but because I'd forgotten I ever loved it. Still, something about the post stayed with me. Maybe it was the word singles. Maybe it was the idea of movement. Maybe it was the promise of feeling something again. Even briefly. The thought lingered far longer than it should have. So I mentioned it to Michael. I told him I wanted to try something new. He didn't hesitate. He smiled. He encouraged me. But he didn't offer to come along. He didn't ask questions. He didn't seem curious. And for reasons I didn't yet understand. That hurt more than if he had objected. That Friday, I went alone. The dance studio was warm and unfamiliar. Soft music floated through the space. People laughed easily. Strangers moving together without apology. I felt awkward. Exposed. Like I'd walked into a version of life I no longer belonged to. That's when I met Jason. Jason didn't rush. Didn't overcompensate. He was confident in a quiet way, fully present in his body, his smile, his attention. When he looked at you, you felt seen. Not admired, noticed. He reached out his hand and said, "You look like you're meant to be on the floor." And for the first time in years, I believed someone. At first, it was innocent. Movement. Laughter. Music. My body remembered something my mind had forgotten. How it felt to be expressive instead of contained. One night became every Friday. Conversations stretched longer. Jason walked me to my car. Messages followed during the week. He told me I had something special. That routine had a way of erasing people if they weren't careful. I told myself it was harmless, that I was just reconnecting with joy. But joy borrowed from the wrong place always comes with interest. One night, the studio emptied. The music continued softly. The lights dimmed. Jason pulled me closer. And suddenly, it wasn't about dancing anymore. My heart raced. My mind fractured. I thought of Michael, of the quiet house waiting for me. And for one terrifying moment, I didn't want to return to it. I wanted to be wanted, chosen, desired. We leaned close enough to feel each other's breath. And then I stepped back. My hands were shaking. Jason whispered that I didn't have to settle for a life that felt empty. But I knew better. Happiness built on deception isn't freedom. It's just another escape. When I got home, Michael was asleep on the couch. The television glowed softly. Dinner sat untouched. He looked peaceful, trusting. And that image broke me. I realized I had crossed a line long before that night. In my silence, my longing, my emotional distance. The next day, I erased Jason's number. I never returned to the studio. When Michael asked if I was okay, I told him the truth, that I felt lost. He held me and said we'd find our way forward together. That forgiveness, given without full knowledge, changed me more than confession ever could. 2 years have passed. We changed how we live. We travel. We talk. We argue. We try. I learned that emptiness isn't healed by replacing people. It's healed by facing yourself honestly. Love isn't thrilling every day. It's intentional. And intention is rarer than passion. That if I could speak to the woman I once was, I'd tell her this. You are not empty. You are not lost. You are waiting to see yourself clearly. Transformation isn't about chasing something new. Sometimes, it's about choosing what you already have fully. And maybe that's what living really is.